Welcome to PolyCast, a civilization podcast focused on game strategy.
Dan Q.
Makalua.
The Me and Team.
Ed Jin.
With guest co-hosts
Leon.
Memory Show.
Civ 5 has sold more than 6.5 million quote-unquote copies, and that is impressive.
Welcome to the PolyCast. I believe this is episode 211.
Mm-hmm.
And we got myself, I'm Leon, and Memory Jar.
Yeah, same here. Hello, everybody.
The Me in Team. Awesome name. And Dan Q.
My hand is in front of my eyes. Fifth live stream from Civilization Beyond Earth developer Firaxis Games was last week.
My name is Pete Murray. Today we're going to look at mid-game technology choices that you make in the game.
Understandably, there was a focus on the tech web.
What we're going to get into now are some of the critical decisions where you're going to be making choices about what path you're going to go down. I've got two saves to show you today, two different stories of two different settlements and how their technology choices are being shaped by the environment around them.
Defiler on CFC said, the tech web indeed a web, or is it a tree in disguise? And Black Hole, with a W, said that yes, it is indicated by the connection lines between the technologies. So there are multiple paths to get to particular technologies, but then you can actually go back, as it were. So it's not so linear as we are used to with the tech tree. However, the extended discussion was on one particular station in Beyond Earth. And again, stations, as we have said before, are the city-state replacements that we got used to in Civilization 5 and its expansion packs. And specifically, the focus, the discussion, the debate, the visceral was on Adept Blue, because at the end of its trade cycle, it gives the player, human or AI, a free technology.
What?
And so immediately launching into this is OP, this is not OP, this may be OP, OMG, Haxors,
Yeah.
LOL, FU.
Come on, man. You can't argue game balance. The game isn't even frickin' out yet. It might very well be OP. The game's not out yet.
Not BOP. We don't know.
We don't know.
There probably are overpowered things in the beta. That's part of the reason they're working on it.
Well, yeah, when they had the stream, well, it would be yesterday as we're recording, but even there were things that Magin was pointing out that Pete was going, oh, let me make a note about that, because it was balance things type of things. This is, like for why Polystralia got slightly nerfed.
Yeah.
As Ariok the Fourth pointed out in the thread, which stations are in play is random. Even if you're offered a choice, it's only between two randomly selected options. So we have seen previously what he's referring to is you're playing along in the game, and then the game says, hey, here is one of two station options. Both of these stations would like to set up operations near you. Which one do you want? And you are given the choice. Most of the options seem to give you four of something, to quote a good Sarmatian. But in this particular case, Adept Blue gives you a free technology at the end of the trade route. I'm surprised, although I can't remember the name of the station right now, there's a station that will give you 3 military units at the end of the cycle. That was revealed before. That really didn't come up into the discussion very much, although someone did raise it and kind of said, if you get 3 units at the end of that particular trade cycle, it looks like it's 25 turns on standard speed. In other words, over those 25 turns, would you have been able to build 3 units yourself, or buy them, or buy some and produce others? And then the question also becomes, when you get a free technology, how does this scale as the game goes on? The early snowball effect, and how many beakers does that translate into? And is it like getting a ruin in Civilization 5 where, hey, look at that, you get the technology 1 turn before you would have otherwise got it? Or is it a technology that you have not invested any beakers in at all? And all these questions are still kind of open. In addition to the point about you don't get to choose which stations, only at one time may one player be allied. It's an exclusive deal. And I like someone saying, so if this city of mine has a trade route with Adept Blue, and this city has a trade route with Adept Blue, does that mean then I can get 2 free tech? No. No, it apparently has been clarified in the stream that no, it's one at a time. There's just one. It gives you one free technology at the end of the trade route. It does come up in the thread. It's already been raised here. How can we possibly be discussing this balance? One person who is particularly concerned about this is Ason, who is the owner of a Polton Civilization site, but he had a lot of conversation over on CFC where, he says Adept Blue is apparently a rare and valuable thing. Rare things don't get much rigorous testing as common things simply because they don't show up as much. He says there are many hypothetical game mechanics that could easily be determined to be imbalanced even without playing the game. If there's other info that somehow could make that balanced, it would be welcome. And I think in addition to the points already raised, if you know that there's Adept Blue and you weren't able to get that station for yourself, something tells me it's going to become a pretty early military target, and then it's no longer an issue. Given how rare it is, it's kind of one of those rare situational things. Ariok. There are a lot of stations, more than 20 at least, so you can't count on Alpha Blue being one of them, any more than you can count on finding El Dorado as Spain. Or how about just El Dorado, period? Or I would also throw in there even the Fountain of Youth for the 10 happiness as soon as you have it within the borders of your civilization. Or what's the natural wonder that you can get that gets you the high altitude training, the double movement on hill?
Kilimanjaro.
So once again, it's all of these particular situation. It can be overpowered, but it requires a little bit of this thing called luck skill.
Yeah, so it's going to kind of be like Skill Dorado now, or the rare times you actually get attack out of ruins. And what does that happen? 1 in 20 games, maybe?
And I think the other thing to remember is you get a free technology at the end of the trade route. So in the case of El Dorado, hey, look at this, I found it first, 500 gold, boom. It's not like you're getting 10 gold a turn over X number of turns in order to reach that 500. You get it all up front in a lump sum. It could be like, oh, I see that there's this particular trade route with Adept Blue that I don't have. Oh, have you not reached turn 25 yet? Declare war, squish. Aw. And so now, instead of going to maybe another nearby station where you would have been getting some kind of input on an on-turn basis, up to including turn 24, that trade route gets broken. Now, whether that's by an AI, whether that's by alien, that goes away. It's high risk in all those respects, and therefore high reward.
Do we actually have a compilation of all the bonuses for each one?
Not as of yet. I don't think we have seen through all the live streams, even some of the playthroughs. But at the same time, given that those values are no doubt changing as we're leading up to build, I think that's something we'll look at on this show when that happens. Adept Blue, and then again, the station that gives you the free units, lump sum at the end. But you have to wait for it. And so, again, the high risk is you've got to wait until you can see it through to the end. It's just like a research agreement, in a way, with regards to Civilization 5. You're not going to be getting X number of beakers throughout the turns, throughout the duration. So if it gets cut halfway through, it's like, oh, well, I only got half of the potential beakers I was going to get. So sad, too bad. No, you've got to actually see that through. If you're able to lock it in for as long as you possibly can. Get yourself the trade depot up and running. We know we need the trade depot in order to be able to trade. Make certain that you've got a path to that particular outpost. Maybe you've got to settle a city to get closer to Adept Blue or whatever the station is, and then protect that trade route so you can actually realize it at the end. Because remember, you would have spent that gold and or those turns producing whatever the trade unit happens to be in order to get that particular benefit. In the case of Adept Blue, if you don't realize the end of that trade route for that technology, then not only have you lost the benefit of a trade route with something else, but you've also turned around and lost that trade unit that you spent time building or you spent a lot of energy constructing in the first place.
I assume that there's still going to be like some sort of, in this case, energy yield for the trade route though, right? Or are they taking that out?
We've seen from some of the virtues that I think there's one that will give you energy per turn based on a trade route that you have, although that might have just been a trade route, not with a station, other factions on the planet. But you do have to go down that virtue line in order to realize that. In the case of Adept Blue, without that, it's just the technology, just like the one that gives you the 3 military units at the very end. It's just that. There is no energy accumulation associated with it otherwise. As the Star of Hope says in the chat, it's 100% not OP. You can't pick it or even use it or even play it at all. It's not out yet, yes. Now, Alpha Shard says, free tech is always good tech. That's true. And of course, then the Star of Hope is like, still easier to get than the workable Krakatoa. I wonder what the equivalent of that in Beyond Earth is going to be. Speculate. Why don't I see threads about this already? Come on now, the game isn't out yet. You're behind the times. Okay. And don't get me wrong, I understand why this is being raised now, because the game is still in development. It's arguable based on Civilization history that we're going to have one patch or more patch, and I think they're trying to essentially let Firaxis know this is a concern of those of us in the community. You are aware of this, right? Give us some more information. But I think, even though it hasn't been specifically spelled out, this is how you deal with Adept Blue if you're not getting it. Given what else we know about the game and Civilization mechanics in general, we're going to be A-okay.
So as usual, if the AI is exploiting something that you can't have, go squish it.
Yes.
Well,
Exactly.
that's pretty true to everything in the series. So there you go.
You have Adept Blue? Not anymore, you don't.
It's just like when the AIs found religion in Civ 4, or really anything. Like they build a city near a good resource in, say, Civ 2.
So actually someone made the point about this is probably going to be an issue in single player, but I suspect multiplayer gamers will be falling over themselves to keep the other guy from getting their hands on it, says Gunnar GOZ. And I'm thinking if it's of a particular concern for the multiplayer group that this particular luck skill, all those things add up. You get the choice to construct it. Yes. You're able to send a trade route to it. Yes. You realize the 25 turns in order to get that free technology. Yes. And then, of course, there's the question of, well, how do you determine what that technology is? Do you get a choice of available and unavailable text, blah, 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 blah. But even if you do, those other three things have to line up. I wouldn't be surprised if some people were like, so just like we can disable city-states if we want to in Civilization 5, how about we just go ahead and not have any stations when we play multiplayer in Beyond Earth?
That may be a checkbox option. No city-states, no stations.
And it might come down to that if they're too ridiculous in one direction or the other. So,
Yeah, we'll have to get a few multiplayer games under our belt, really, though, to figure that out.
And the thing about Beyond Earth as compared to Civ 5, right, often the argument, and I think earlier this year on the show it was argued, hey, if you disable city-states in Civ 5, there are some civs that get screwed over with their unique ability.
Yep.
Yeah, but guess what? With the factions, at least such is going to be in Beyond Earth upon release, that's not a direct issue. There's nothing tied specifically to stations. There is a faction that has something specific tied to trade routes, but it's not tied specifically to stations. So you're not going to be crippling a faction in and of itself by getting rid of that option, if you decide to disable that. Like Mackie said, hopefully that's a checkbox, so you can decide as a group whether or not you want to roll the dice when it comes to that luck skill.
It's pretty hard to balance a game in single player or multiplayer. I'm not a multiplayer in C5, but I see many posts on thread and forum, and the gameplay is not the same on single player or multiplayer. So I wonder if this free tech is very overpowered for multiplayer. You're not against the same opponent. An AI is less clever human, I hope. And
You hope. You hope, yes.
Well, it depends if that tech comes fast enough for it to matter compared to other bonuses.
I honestly don't see it being that big of an issue. I mean, if you want it to be more balanced per se, I suppose you could do something like a tech boost. But as you're pointing out, you could either pillage the trade out or kill station.
And I think maybe this would even be more of an issue if we had a tech tree as opposed to a tech web, because at certain points, right, in Civilization 5, there's that bottleneck where you need this tech in order to progress, but considering it's a tech web, maybe you end up with a tech that's like, oh, that's nice, but I really wasn't going for that.
That's probably what it's going to be most of the time, but the only way to really maximize this whole benefit of this station thing would be to actually research. So you'd have like no junker techs left. You'd have like all these high 10 to 30 turn techs able to be obtained through the trade route ending. That's the only way you can maximize it.
And you'd have to be very precise in your timing in order to maximize that possibility.
Yeah. And you still have to be lucky to get something that's actually useful towards whatever your goal you're trying to do.
I think if you go too far in that direction, you're actually going to have it wind up being an underpowered option ultimately. Rather than something that's useful sooner and is a more guaranteed benefit towards what your goal is.
The Star of Hope says in the chat, I'm not really worrying about individual bonuses since they're easy enough to change with balance threads. I'm much more interested in the core mechanics as they'll be fairly set at this point. 100 turns as Slavic Federation and African Union.
We're currently broadcasting live from Austin, Texas, inside the AMD Customer Engagement Center.
Okay, when one of the comments is in the thread is, abandon all hope, ye who should watch this. Do I need to skim through this or just not?
Yeah, there were some negative comments, shall we say, about the first one, and this was from AMD. Old Earth Relic said it's all an advert for Mantle, a new graphics card, but as Mad Jin pointed out, it is not a specific graphics card. Mantle is a video API alternative to OpenGL and DirectX.
Can you say anything about what we would gain from running this with a Mantle versus OpenGL or DirectX? That's a great question. We had the principal graphics developer of Civ 5 from Firaxis, and one of the things that he said about the game is that in the late game, when there's lots of units, lots of tile development, all that sort of stuff going on, typically a DirectX 11 engine would feel a little sluggish. It would drop frame rates. But Mantle, on the other hand, because it's specifically designed to keep frame rates high in those scenarios, the game feels really liquid smooth.
And they're marking 1 year since Mantle was released. It was last September, but Beyond Earth becomes one of the first 8, 9, 10 games in the world that takes advantage of this technology, apparently.
Hey, if we get something other than DirectX, that's great. I didn't know about Mantle until, today, so...
And whether or not it is better than DirectX or OpenGL, competition is good.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. That will encourage them to make the other ones better.
Especially one that isn't proprietary to an OS person as well.
Oh,
or an OS
yes.
company. Yeah, DirectX and Microsoft is it's made gaming off of Windows a real problem. So seeing something else other than OpenGL in the market is just a big positive. Well, to me anyway. Linux Master Race.
Linux, man. Yeah, there's a few other small things you learned from the game about what some of the decisions you have to make. Whoever was playing in the stream was getting a lot of harmony decisions.
Going militant harmony. We're just picking random stuff on the stream today.
Oh, and that titanium is a very good tile for production. Yeah, we can farm alien nests the way you farm barbarian camps. Ha 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 ha. Because what you guys needed from me was a way to acquire more alien units, right?
Yeah.
I think it'd be hilarious if someone decided to go all friends with the aliens and it's like aliens all next to their cities and someone else aggravates all the aliens so they go hostile.
Yeah. They're going to have to balance that. So, a faction that is particularly friendly to the aliens is viewed as different eventually because otherwise it's just going to be troll mode every game where you just incite the aliens over and over.
All harmony all the time.
Not with me in the game. Supremacy all the way.
Yeah, there's a lot of numbers in the thread of bits and pieces, which for the people who are number crunchers, you should probably come read this thread. Asmodean was saying that Harmony looked interesting and that he would definitely be testing how well Harmony plus Prosperity will make for a totally feel-good playthrough and how well it's going to counterbalance to a gung-ho supremacy neighbor. And we're already eating jokes about, good thing this game isn't a drug. It's Civ. Come on, guys. Well, it's not Civ. It's Beyond Earth, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but it's still a Civ.
This is a pre-release copy of Civilization Beyond Earth. It is running on a beta driver. I don't anticipate any issues, but I just did want to throw that out there to set expectations.
I'm pretty sure that giving them footage a month before it goes live is worth any sort of hitches that we see.
I've watched a decent amount, but I'm more looking forward just to jump into the game myself when it releases.
Yeah, me too.
It's just because it's more entertaining that way, or at least allows you to enjoy what you're currently playing for entertainment more. Less hype.
To me, it's the strategy draw ultimately, but the parameters we have now are almost certainly not the parameters we'll have on release, and that changes things considerably.
Hello again to David Hinkle from 2K Games. 2K Games is the publisher of Civilization Beyond Earth. If you have questions about the title that I can't answer because I'm a total noob at this game, he can certainly help you out.
But you're having fun with it.
I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm a huge Civ 5 player, so I'm really, really enjoying the fact that I get to play this now before release.
He does 100 turn demos. The biggest deterrent is when you see someone do something that you would think is really silly or that you would, why are you doing this sort of thing? It makes it a little bit hard to watch. But it is definitely interesting. All the changes and everything.
Yeah, for sure.
We have a lot of expert Civ Beyond Earth players here that have seen this played many times. This is my first time. Be nice to me.
The next one had a little more information.
Hello everyone, I'm the Solo Gamer, and welcome back to Sid Meier's Civilization Beyond Earth First Look. I think I'm going to play this a little bit more passively this time.
Asmodean was like, that was a really good video. That was another pretty good vid, said good, Sarmation. I love the trade unit bonus for the ultrasonic fence. After you construct an ultrasonic fence in your city, get a quest decision. Do you keep the original design, add 1 repel range from the ultrasonic fences? The ultrasonic fence itself gives you +2, so +2 hexes from the city. You don't have to worry about aliens coming in and wrecking your day. But if you reverse the polarity, trade convoys will not be attacked by alien units, which of course has also led to OMG, OP, WTF, especially since this is a quest. All you have to do is construct apparently 1 ultrasonic fence in 1 city. It's not even tied to an affinity. What gives?
The exploration part of this game is really limited. By the mid to late game, you might not know anything about the rest of the world. It is a very, very hostile environment, so exploring can be really hard.
Sprank says, Solar Gamer never seemed to realize that finishing an explorer move within 2 tiles of an alien nest is a bad idea. As a result, his explorer units become the equivalent of red shirts in Star Trek.
Oh, dear.
The explorer unit in Beyond Earth is like your worker. It has no defense. It's just, bloop, it's gone. Bye-bye. I'll have an ultrasonic fence, and the quest choice is protect those routes. So regardless of where the station is, so long as you can reach it, of course, now you don't have to worry about trying to protect it with military unit and monitoring.
Okay, because I was kind of wondering about that station could pop up anywhere on the map, and if I'm trading with them, it has a really long route. I'm not going to keep all the aliens off of that.
Other than the distance, the biggest issue to establishing a trade route, whether it is with Adept Blue or otherwise, is there needs to be a clear path to it without miasma. As much as attention is given to the siege worms or even the aliens based in the water, and I think a lot of that is how it looks on the screen, plus how a lot of these people who are playing it react to those particular aliens, there are other aliens as well, and even if you have a unit in the vicinity, are you going to be able to move the unit? Are you going to be able to follow the trade route every turn? You're going to remember to follow it every trade route. Can you even remember the exact trade route it's going to be able to take? Are you going to be able to protect it? Are you going to remember to monitor every turn to see whether or not that trade route is in trouble? So with this quest decision, that ultrasonic fence benefit now extends well beyond the city itself. So of all the quests that have been revealed, I think that one has gotten some particular attention, and this latest video from Solar Gamer just brought that to light again.
Oh, okay, we got attacked by those drones and immediately killed. So like I said, it's going to be really hard to explore the planet, and you have to be prepared to lose a couple rovers.
People are talking about the game, already have an emotional investment in the game, and they haven't even played a turn of it yet, most of them.
We have the Pan-Asian Cooperative, which I confirmed was China and Mongolia, actually. Right, the Kavathan Protectorate settled right next to my rover, which was fantastic, but also too close for comfort, in my opinion. Oh, a unit was killed. Oh, the worker. Right, yes, that was not okay. So I decided, you know what? Vengeance. Absolutely. That's just not happening. You killed my worker. You know, that's just rude. It really is. Uh-oh. We've noticed that you've been hunting for salvage and artifacts near our territory. Well, I will do what I want, thank you. Absolute fun time. I absolutely loved 2K for doing this, and I cannot wait for Beyond Earth to come out on October 24th.
Speaking of live streams, Majin took over.
My name is Pete Murray, and I'm joined today by the illustrious Majin, YouTuber extraordinaire, Civ player, non-Perel, an absolute master of the game, and here today to give us a masterclass. And you're in town for FragsCon this weekend.
Yes, I am.
We're going to go through, we're going to talk about advanced strategy in the game, kind of how to use the factions to your optimum advantage. He's also going to walk us through and see some differences in some of the abilities from what we've seen in previous streams, so you can see how we're balancing the game.
Well, since I actually got to watch it, all the streams I got to watch, they had save games at different points so they could illustrate different things.
Let's go ahead and we're going to jump into this current game.
Okay.
And this is our Hutama Super Friends save, since Paul Australia's undergone some modification based on feedback we've heard from you. Do you want to explain Paul Australia's new revised trading ability?
Yeah, so they still have extra trade routes, but they're all in the capital. So with just the trade depot at the start, you start with 4 trade routes in your capital, and trade routes are extremely powerful.
So it wasn't always start from the first turn and show you things. They had ones that were well advanced, which is how we first heard about the stories of the people running into the Slavic Federation.
If you're peaceful and you make your friends, you make your allies. With alliances, you are less likely to be attacked. Less likely. Sometimes some AIs will still do it.
Slavic Federation, I'm looking at you.
But the more allies you have, the better your trades are and everything else, the more peaceful you will be able to play.
One thing we got to see for the first time were the multiplayer options.
One of the things that has definitely changed is multiplayer. Sufficiently different from Civilization V's code base to suggest that a lot of stuff has changed, and you should be much more amused with it.
Imagine was paying attention to what people were saying in the community about what do we want to see.
And we pitch retrograde thrusters, and that retrograde thrusters is going to be key for what you're going to see on the screen in just a moment when this loads.
This was called Luck Skill, I think.
It's... You joke in Civ about having that legendary start. You know, when you get that one Petra start that determines, like you look at it and on turn one, you're like, I win the game. This was that.
People have already talked about going into genetic mapping to get that first bit of purity and to get the gene vault with that first orbitality in it. That is okay, but if you want to make a recent game, which I don't necessarily have on me, I ended up with surrogacy.
A tier 3 tech out in the third ring there.
And this was by about turn 112, 113.
So you had access to Aegis units.
Yes.
Well,
that quickly.
Good grief.
Depending on which affinity you're planning, instead of going for that quick little wonder, you could always go straight for your affinity-based choice strategic resource.
And again, with the Slavic Federation, given that you've got early satellite accesses if you're going up through ecology, or you always have the potential to find that solar collector in the resource pod, it's very possible in that first 100, 150 turns to get that tech that's going to allow you to unlock that resource faster through that launch than through other
And very specifically, as long as you're not going supremacy, you research ecology, if you don't get the free solar tech, you can always just throw out the miasmic repulsor, and you've got the strategic resource of your choice.
Interesting.
You know, there are only so many angles that you can look at a particular game mechanic from, especially before the game comes out, where it actually starts to get stale.
Got a question. How do quests affect your strategy?
Quests are not just the building quests that you've seen and some of these small quests that we have in the game. Mm-hmm. There are multi-affinity quests that can seriously boost you towards one affinity or the other. And if you know which affinity you're already leaning towards and you need to, say, get to level 2 of your affinity so that you can build those slightly better rangers to defend yourself from an early rush, then those quests can really help. And even knowing how to go through those quests can be a big thing, because I know there is a specific quest that end goal choices are either supremacy, purity, harmony, each of those affinity points, or a fourth option, which is none of the above, but you get something great from it.
Right. Can you attack outposts without declaring war?
Oh, this is quick. No!
All right.
There was a period of time on the forums where there was this preview that sort of made it sound like we could have, but no.
In their defense, there was a point in the game where I believe that was the case, that you could do that.
Yeah, maybe.
Advanced setup was shown in more thorough detail and probably using a newer build than the last time I ever remember seeing advanced setup shown. There was a revised view of the tech web.
I found the AI very reluctant to even take favors for science per turn.
Yeah. So this say for a very, very simple 3 science per turn.
Vanguard.
That will cost me 5 Firaxite and 2 Petroleum. That's actually not bad.
I'm very reluctant to sell Firaxite to Supremacy Brasilia. You know?
Bad. Could be worse.
It could be. How close is he? I mean, is he more likely to go to somebody else? How shall I put this? Apply that Firaxite?
Revised as in, I'm certain that there are bits and pieces that have changed to some even minor degree, and no doubt the Civ community will be data mining that.
Even on the Archipelago maps, they're not quite like the Civ 5 maps. They're actually a lot more land connections on the main start with a lot of islands out there. Farm spam is okay because
they're going to end up being useful. They're like mini terrascapes.
Yeah, just not quite as terrible in the terrifying sort of way.
I understand. Now, are you building the ultrasonic fence and then taking the option to shield your trade units, or are you just not worrying about the aliens?
No, the only reason I'm spamming the trade routes like this is I have gone ultrasonic fence. I have told the aliens to please leave us alone.
Okay.
We also got to see towards the end the unit upgrade screen with respect to the affinities, which we've seen some before.
Oh, yeah, he was talking about that, about going in not kind of shallowish to get some base unit out of an affinity, but then going in deeper to something else would switch over, and then you get a really awesome upgrade for that unit, since they do upgrade that way depending on your larger affinity at the time.
There was also some Purity 1 Explorer cheating.
Okay.
Well, it's not cheating because they left it in the game. But alien nests, well, when you have Purity 1, the aliens won't attack you.
Yes, that's true.
Alien nests are worth 50 science.
That's
There
a lot
was
worth clearing.
4 alien nests in this area that constantly respawn.
So you kind of made a circuit of clearing the alien nests. And,
Wandering back and forth with that Purity 1 Explorer.
Right. Note to self. Review Purity 1 bonus.
Yeah, just maybe.
Right. Okay.
If you would please.
But other than the multiplayer options, the other thing that we had not seen before but we got to see was the trade route overview screen.
Just because you have the trade routes doesn't mean they're going to be very good.
Yes.
So because of these balances and changes, some trade routes are better than others. So this one right here between these two cities, not so good.
Yeah.
You get a little
reassign that guy next time.
food, but that's about it. These are just available ones. So you do want to come check these out. Some cities, just a little production.
Yep.
There are trade routes where you get nothing.
How does that happen?
Flat out nothing. It's a weird balance point in the game where the amount of resources on each side are about the same, what you're producing is about the same each way, and it's basically, you've got what I've got, so what are we going to get out of this?
Interesting.
Oh yeah, there's that little detail.
Oh, what are you doing? Oh. Well, let's find out. Okay, next turn. Let's see if you get his capital.
Why Imagine isn't on this episode.
Phyrexicon!
That's right, Phyrexicon. As we discussed before on this show, Phyrexicon is being held at Firaxis Games. And when I say at Firaxis Games, there is a studio tour, but it's actually at a hotel near the Firaxis studios. What we didn't know a lot of, other than tickets sold out within 5 days, and there was a tease about a wait list as well. I'm not really certain that ever actually came to pass, but we got a little more detail about the specifics. We knew that get a chance to meet fellow Civ players, but in particular, meet the developers, talk to the developers, number of the developers being there, and got a chance to play. Get a chance to play Civilization Beyond Earth about a month before the game is to be released. Apparently, what's going to happen, and I'm quoting from this first article here from Game Guide. Yeah, Game and Guide. Phyrexicon is filling up a room with PCs to give guests a chance to get their hands on Sid Meier's Civilization Beyond Earth. The demo is going to be limited to 250 turns. There's still more than twice the previous demo limit of 100 turns, because we saw that on some previous videos, right? It's like, oh, we can't go past 100 turns. And I like the comment from Connor Sears, who wrote this article, which was, if Beyond Earth's pace is anything like that of Civ 5, 250 turns can even be enough to play a full game with a skilled enough player on an easier difficulty level. And then there aren't just demos as well. There are several panels being opened up. First, run by Beyond Earth's co-lead designers, will explain the Great Mistake, the narrative event that sets up the need for man to colonize other planets in Beyond Earth. I like that. Explaining the Great Mistake. And I, of course, explain, that's kind of a loaded term, because Firaxis has been saying at this point, we're not really going to tell you, well, actually doesn't say what the Great Mistake is. I guess that's true. Explain the Great Mistake, kind of the consequences of. Panel's going to go into the upcoming game's soundtrack and how Firaxis composers tackled creating the sounds. Oh, interesting. And then, of course, Civ 5 is still going to be a topic of discussion over at Phyrexicon. I don't know why that would be, seeing as how that's the main Civ game that people have been playing for 4 years, I guess. Members of Civ 5 production team are going to be on hand to talk about how they chose the civilizations that were added in the final expansion, Brave New World, and how Firaxis balances the portrayal of so many different cultures in its games. I think what they mean to say is they're going to extend the conversation how they chose the civilizations that were added, because when Firaxis was on last summer for episode 178, they talked about some of the final cut and why Brazil ended up being in the game, but other civilizations like Canada did not. The developer, Firaxis, has assured the rest of us that the goings-on will be broadcast over social media. Okay, yes, we knew about that. And then on the 25th of September, the Air Herald, Ashkan Khani, says, although tickets sold well in advance, convention footage will be available online. And I went, wait a minute, that's never been discussed before. The question was really avoided before. It was just, well, we're going to be on social media, which to me meant tweets and photos of people doing things, maybe even a photo gallery, maybe a collection of photos on Imager or something like that. But no. Pete Murray said on the 25th of September, tweeted to his Twitter account for Firaxis, we'll record panels and broadcast afterwards. Then Dave Hinkle, the community manager and social media manager, said that we're going to be posting lots of content for folks who are unable to make it. Dave Hinkle is the new community manager. He joined just this month, 2K. He was most previously an associate editor and contributing editor at Joystick. So I guess we're going to have some panels to talk about in some upcoming episodes of this show.
Hopefully before we're actually playing Beyond Earth, at which point we'll be like, yeah, whatever, we're playing it now.
Something about Civilization 5 and some changes to one of the vanilla civs through Brave New World and strategy changes? Mega Bears fan. Yes, another Mega Bears fan strategy article. What's the big deal about Arabia and Brave New World?
I mean, aside from Arabia being like one of the best civs out there.
It's interesting to have a strategic about Arabian because it's one of the vanilla civilization who's still very strong in Brave New World. Poland, Mayan, Spain come to be a very strong civilization, but Arabians still be on the top because they have no useless or unique ability or unique building or unit. Everything is strong in Arabian. And in this article, speak about mainly how to extend your relation with Arabian.
I mean, I was looking at the guide and I disagree with his emphasis on the religion and the spreading of it through like trade routes. I feel that if you just like keep a few cities at 1 pop or intentionally starve a 3 pop city down to 2 pop and then it converts, or just simply use a missionary, you could convert easily. But I don't think I'd ever open piety just to get the religion. I'm not sure,
too.
but I think Arabia is probably the second strongest civ behind Babylon. I mean, Camel Archers, it's too powerful. It's good for such a long period of the game that just becomes unstoppable. When you get logistics, it's crazy. You can kill Great War Infantry with it.
Yeah, why don't we start the focus then on the Camel Archer, which is the Knight replacement. Same technology requirement as a Knight. It has the same movement speed, the same bonuses, the same obsolescence, but not only changes in its combat strength and its range strength, but it's actually a different type of unit than the unit that replaces, which makes it unique in and of itself, let alone what else it brings to the table.
Oh, you thought pikemen were good against horse archers? Nope.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oh,
I like how he just crosses that out.
Yeah, Camel Archer's actually immune to that, so oopsie in the Civilpedia there.
It's just it's a nice touch too, the way he did it though in his strategy article. I mean, they wouldn't be that vulnerable anyway because they just shoot and move back. It'd be pretty hard to deal with. But yeah, on top of that, oof.
Well, other than what Anseliana had said about the Camel Archer being strong even as you move beyond the era that you get them.
Yeah.
Here's a reason to construct a Chariot Archer or two in the early game and, give it easy kills to get itself some experience so you could actually upgrade it to a Camel Archer. But honestly, just in general, here is a reason to actually want horses and use mounted units consistently, and specifically the Camel Archer, because it is so good. I mean, it's even better than a crossbowman in terms of, because it's got bombard ability, just move in, bombard, get the heck out of the way.
Yeah.
It also puts massive value, if you're trying to do some sort of gold upgraded rush with Camel Archers, it puts massive value on Machu Picchu, which even 10 turns of having the effect of Machu Picchu can generate you sometimes over double your current gold income, which can then allow you to upgrade.
Yeah, that's right. Machu Picchu giving you the plus 25% gold output from your trade route connections. And that works well with the kind of other major side There's aggression. To me, there's the aggression from the Camel Archer towards a domination victory, but then there's also even the gold aggression, which I focus even on the economic focus, even more so than the religious focus, which, I mean, yeah, it's in there. I think it's worthwhile mentioning, but the gold component, wow, the bizarre, how bizarre. Providing a duplicate copy of each improved luxury resource near the city. Doesn't have to be worked. No. Provides a duplicate of each improved luxury. Pretty impressive. And they can be sold to other civs via a trade deal for even more gold, whether it's gold per turn or lump sum if you manage to get yourself in a friendly status. As Mega Bears fan points out, the building becomes more powerful on larger games with more civilizations, since Arabia will have more potential trade partners to sell the duplicate luxuries to. And I guess I just qualify with that. It can become more powerful on larger games with more civilizations. You just got to learn to play the diplomacy game right, which goes back to if you're going to be aggressive in that fashion, know who you're pissing off, know when you're pissing them off, how close they are to do something to you, and their relative power to do more than just growl at you. Like, is their bark bigger than their bite? Then you're probably not going to worry about it so much. But if you piss people off too much, hello World Congress, and suddenly you find yourself embargoed, that can cripple a lot of your other plans, for instance. You get double the number of oil resources that you would have yourself that you can work, and you're probably going to have more oil resources than you can really realize in terms of units to be able to make use of it. So as long as you're careful not to trade that, and Mega Bears fan says, be careful who you trade the oil to, because then it could be used against you. Well, yes and no, because they can go ahead and then construct units with that oil, but then if the trade deal for that oil ends with you, then they get a 50% combat penalty. And I think we've talked about it in a way that's actually, especially with the AI, a way you can cripple the AI. Would you like, not so much with oil, but earlier on, would you like all of this iron that I have? Yay! Now I'm going to declare war on you, and squish. The other thing that's beneficial for the Arabians is the caravanserai, which, because Arabia already, their new unique ability, caravans give 50% extended range. Oh, okay, so then a caravanserai does that half again. Got a 50% extended range and then another 25% extended range with the caravanserai, probably in your capital. You're going to be able to reach more cities, establish more trade routes, which then ties into the part about being able to spread your religion more, or quite frankly, whatever religion is the dominant religion in that particular city, to other cities on the map.
Extend caravan is really good, but there's barbarians, and caravan are not really strong against barbarian. I had so many games where my caravan were vast by a single warrior, and all my capital was surrounded by another barbarian.
Oh yeah, you should be investing a lot of some of that money that you're going to be generating from the trade route is going to be needed in order to be able to support the military, in order to be able to protect those trade routes in the first place. That's very true. You don't want to get the cart before the horse.
Yeah, Civ 5, unlike Beyond Earth, does not have sonic fences to keep the barbarians out.
Barbarian will disappear over the first 100 turn, but below, always barbarian, and you can't send your caravan really far away, on specific in the Fog of War, where every time a barbarian spawn on your trade caravan. I really dislike barbarians.
I don't think you're alone there. Mega Bears fan does say that as good as caravans become with Arabia, that cargo ships are still better, and I would agree with that. There are always going to be exceptions. Of course, the obvious kind of trolley response exception to me is that, well, if you don't have any cities on water, then, you're not coastal, you're not going to be able to use cargo ships, so in which case you probably want to fill up your possible trade routes with caravans so that actually have trade routes. But I like this change to the unique ability from Arabia, which used to be this passive +1 gold for city connections. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was kind of meh. But now, given everything else with regards to Arabia, you can use that economic advantage to set up relationships diplomatically, to ally yourselves, to then go after other civilizations that are mutual opponents, and then you can then also further your potential influence with your faith, although I think the faith focus for Arabia, depending upon your victory condition that you're going for, of course, but I'm agreeing with others here, that's a bit more secondary to what you can do with the gold, as well as your military advantage, particularly with regards to the Camel Archer, The only kind of, and this isn't so much against Arabia as it is an exception for Arabia, because yes, a camel archer requires horse to improve, which does sound kind of odd, especially when you consider, and Mega Bears fans points out this, the Indian war elephant, the Carthaginian African forest elephant, and the Siamese Narsurians elephant do not require horses. He says, so make sure you have access to horses during the medieval and Renaissance periods. I think what this is really saying, Mega Bears fan, is that Civ 5 considers an elephant the equivalent to a horse. See, if it was a elephant archer instead of a camel archer, then it would not require horses. I mean, I think the logic is quite clear, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe there's just some holdover from Civ 4 where camel archers did not require horses, so people want them to not require horses in Civ 5, perhaps. Arabia is already really good, though. The ability to spam infinite camel archers in Civ 5 would be an eyebrow raiser.
Another thing that makes Arabian very strong is his start bears. Beginning in desert is very, very strong in civilization because it's ensure you quite easy religion. You just have to pick desert folk and let's go.
Yeah. It's still odd to think about that, though, that starting in or near a desert is favorable. It sounds odd.
Faith City State. I really wish they would change this, by the way. I don't think Faith City States give you faith like that. It's absurd when someone finds a Faith City State and then just pick up desert folklore. I don't even mean to build a shrine.
Instant Pantheon, just add City State.
It's so silly. But I don't think they'd ever change that.
Let's play Civilization 1.
As you can see, there is no number at the end of this one because this is the classic. We're still sticking with our series of oldies, and I don't know of any better classic than the original Civilizations, so let's get going.
Not your usual Let's Play of Civilizations that you would find on YouTube, because it's focusing on an earlier Civ title, very early Civ title.
Yeah, my first one.
Oh, look at that, I got a goodie hut right next to me. Awesome. I'm going to go and build a city, though, because that might be barbarians, and that could be bad.
I'm certain there are people listening, and they're like, there was a Civilization 1?
In cases of some of the people I know, it was before they were born.
Oh, Mackie.
Come on.
You get your population up here. It's got 10,000 dudes. One guy represents that. Here's my resources. Food. I'm producing 2 extra food right now, which will go into my storage. Once that fills up, I get another population. And I have 2 production shields. That's trade. The arrows is trade. It's coins. And the white here is science. Durham is destroyed by the Zulus already. Civ 1, baby.
For me, it's crazy to think that some people are born after Civilization 1. I become old.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are people playing Civilization that were born in this millennium, in this century.
Yeah.
So, it's we got to keep adjusting our perspective.
And the older of that crowd isn't even that young anymore.
It's true.
Since the Germans were killed so quickly, they will come back as a different Civ. French destroyed by the Russians. So, awesome. The Germans are destroyed.
So this Neptune's Nook Games says, I'm working on a new Let's Play series of the original Civ. It's a bit on the old side, but still an amazing game.
So the new Civ that spawned was the French. The French built right in front of me, so now we're going to get another one after that. Oh, Aztecs.
As of this recording, there are 13 parts and 4 hours of gameplay to watch. It is a solo commentary. Some of the commentary is interesting, and I just watched the first part myself.
All the Greeks are dead now, destroyed by the Mongols.
He does say that I'm a huge fan of older strategy games, so you can watch if you like.
Aztecs want to talk to me. What do you want now? In spite of your disrespectful attitude, we will spare you from the wrath of our mighty armies. What?
So if you are feeling particularly nostalgic, not only can you watch the original Civ, you can watch an original XCOM Master of Orion 2 video series as well. There seems to be a new video or 2 every day in one or more of these series. So it is definitely a trip down memory lane. Jogging some memories, which might be helpful to you in the next topic, jogging your memory of the original Civilization. Oh, see what I did there.
Well, I took that quiz, and it's not just the original Civilization, so...
No, I mean, it will help you, but it won't be... it won't completely help you.
I got 16 out of 20.
And Mackie beat me by 1.
Haha, yes.
That's okay.
Everybody take the quiz now, see if we can beat us.
I'm shame. I'm at 7.
Oh, you're just probably a young. That's okay.
Yeah, some of the things in the quiz is little details you would have had to have played the games a lot to remember for whatever reason.
Or take the time and effort to look up the answers.
I looked up nothing.
There's no timer on the quiz, so you don't even have to try to take it multiple times.
I have my pride, sir.
I do too. I was good. I did not look up anything. I thought, let's see how much I could actually remember. From shortlist.com, saying we've compiled this exacting quiz for diehard fans of the series. With questions on all the major titles, you'll need to know your Zulu leaders from your Indonesian unique buildings if you're going to score highly. There is one mistake. It's a nuanced mistake. It has to do with a cutscene in regards to Civilization 5. Give you a hint. I won't tell you which one it is, but the cutscene they're referring to is from one of the expansions. I think it's from the Brave New World expansion. The vanilla quote is on there, but that's not the one that is listed as the correct answer. It makes sense, but the question is a bit misleading. So if you don't get that one correctly, then just score yourself out of 19. I think that's fair.
Damn, I got 6 out of 20.
Whoa! What about Phil?
I'm not done with it yet.
Oh, you're not.
We await Phil's score.
I don't think I'm going to do well because I don't remember some of this stuff. Even though I played Civ. I didn't play much Civ 1. I played Civ 2 a bit, but I was young.
At least
My
you were
expertise is
born
Civ 4.
before
I probably
Civ.
won't miss any Civ 4 questions at all, but that doesn't appear to be a majority on the list.
They've called this the Ultimate Civilization Quiz. I do disagree with that title. I don't think it's an exacting quiz.
Yeah, but it does do pretty good on a spread of questions from the Civ games, and it would catch out somebody who hasn't played it a lot.
That's true. It's very good with breadth of questions. Depth, not so much.
Which nation does Shaka lead?
I hope you get that right, Phil.
I wonder.
Oh my gosh.
I only got 14.
So Dan
Unless you
got
get
15 and I got 16. Yes.
Mackie wins.
I think it's only fair. I mean, Mackie is older, so it makes sense.
Hey.
Oh, man.
Dang. Canadians aren't nice.
No. Look, I'm not going to ask Mackie's age, Phil. I'm not looking for a hit below the belt. I'm sure I'm going to get hit above the belt for what I already said. But
I don't even want to think about what you're aiming for.
Call in today. In North America, the number is 301-637-7659.
That's 301-637-POLY.
In Europe, 44121-288-7659. That's 44121-288-POLY.
The only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about.
For more information on PolyCast,
our sibling shows Modcast, Revcast, and Turncast,
or about PolyCast in general,
log on to the series' official website at thepolycast.net.
There's always mods, too.
yes, there's always mods. I think one day, like as an April Fool, this will never actually happen because I'm saying it loud. Episode where it's like, okay, topic number 1, blah, 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 blah. We can mod it. Topic number 2, blah, 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 blah. We can mod it. Great show. See you next time.
Well,
we can't mod everything, but...
Very few games are designed with high-end competitive balance in mind. And even if they are, usually at release, you're not there yet. Even with games that are like about that, like StarCraft, they're not there at release. Especially for a game that's heavily played single player, like Beyond Earth, or really any of the Civ stuff. Getting true balance in a competitive setting and trying to iron out the, you got a good start and therefore you win instantly. You probably have to tweak the game a little to make it truly fair, quote unquote, if that's what you're into.
Ansley on, we've talked about Let's Plays in passing. We've talked about first 100, first 250 videos for Beyond Earth, live streams for Beyond Earth, and when Phil joined the show, the Me and Team joined, very much known for his Let's Plays of Civilization 4, Imagine, and his Let's Plays of Civilization 5 when he joined the show. And both Phil and Imagine still respectively still get asked on a recurring basis, when is the next Let's Play? And I think what happens in both of their cases is every single time someone asks that, there's a multiple number of days until it actually comes out again. It's just kind of like the more often you ask, the longer it's going to be. Have patience, have patience. But Ansley on, you do a different type of live streaming and Let's Play, so to speak.
Yeah, I stream games in the No Quit group, which is a Steam group. Basically created to have more competitive Civ games on multiplayer.
in a lot of respects, provide commentary while you're going on with it. You're on, I'm assuming, like a Skype call with some other people who are playing. I'm thinking of one video I saw in particular. And when you guys play a game, like, you are playing a game pretty well to the end. Because your videos... well, if someone wanted to watch all of your videos talking about hours, like, it's hardcore.
Yeah.
When you say no quitters, you mean
game.
No quit. It is actually realized.
Yeah, each game is like 5 to 9 hours on average. They're pretty intense.
So thank you to hear this PolyCast 211 with Mackie and the run. Thank you, me and the team and Memorization. I was very glad to participate to this PolyCast and hope to have another occasion to discuss with you.
Starhope says, "Oh, you got me all excited there. I was hoping for a cage match with Mad Jin."
He's a little busy with his Phyraxicon thing.
Yeah, just a little bit. I also appreciate the twang that you added to that, Maggie. Thank you for that.
Bringing out the Texas.
All right, so we just healed ourselves after going through all that miasma. Not the smartest, but that's all right. I was thinking I was going to settle up there because of all the resources and the petroleum, but ultimately I think I settled down south towards the Cavathan Protectorate. I guess I went up there anyways. Okay, please note that I do apologize if I don't necessarily remember exactly what I did. This is post-commentary, and it's been a couple of weeks. So, actually, no, I'm going down. Okay, I take that back. I was smart. Good. Yeah, there goes my rover. The things I do for peace, right? Not attacking you and all that, and rude. Inadvertently, I set myself up good there. Gain favors for 3 Xenomass. How about no? Oh, I said yes! Well, excuse you, past Ryan. I didn't want to do that. Goodness me. So at this point, I didn't know if the settler unit could be captured. So I threw him out there, and basically, I for some reason in my head, I don't know why I did that, but it was the stupidest thing I did. Because they took it. And they killed it. So, don't do that, guys.
Mackie's not saying anything because she's too busy face-palming. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
For Mackie's benefit, I made a song reference without actually singing.
Yes, thank you for the not singing.
So, have you had your birthday yet this year, Mackie? If yes, then it's a belated birthday present, and if it hasn't happened yet, then it's in advance. Just mark that on your calendar.
Right.
To catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause. Yeah, there we go. All right, we're going to get banned. All right.
Copyrighted music.
Denied. Brandon, you've played this.
Yes.
What do we do now?
Where's my build queue? Is this just an explorer unit, or do I...
These bugs are really, really powerful.
Well, run away from the scorpions. What are they? They look like scorpions.
Why does he get to attack first? That's so bogus.
The music, the visuals, it's just like you just get sucked into it and then you blink and it's like 5 hours have gone by.
Is
Play so much Civ 5.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, remember your Explorer units just, like Explorer... Actually, worse than even Explorer units, say, in Civilization 4. You might be saying, how is that possible? Explorer units were completely useless. The Explorer... I knew Phil in particular would appreciate that. Throwback.
This alien, on the other hand, is a manticore that's mine that I got as a result of an investigation of an alien skeleton. So I'm very proud of these guys. Everybody say hi to the manticore. Oh, I loaded the wrong game. The very first thing you wanted to do in today's live stream is to go and show everybody the multiplayer lobby.
I think I wanted the keyboard.
Oh, you wanted the keyboard for that. All right.
Stealing the
here, I'm
keyboard.
gonna give you the keyboard.
And then there's that little button down in that corner that seems different. Save configuration.
Pretty handy. So if you have that regular group that you play with every Saturday night, you save that loadout, and then when you're ready to go, just jump right back in.
Okay, now I'll actually give you that back. So that
All right. And now the very first...
I'll take this one, though.
Okay, so now he's taking the mouse from me.
But we aren't here to get all giggly over this one start location.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
that you instantly saved, of course.
We should rename the city something amusing, like Ragusa?
Yeah.
Hang on a second. Our keyboard is...
The keyboard of causing... It just doesn't want it.
Freela. Anyway, if you wanted to rename a city, ladies and gentlemen, this is where you would go to do it. You would rename it Freela.
I was going to troll Pete a little bit with Ragusa, but yeah.
The keyboard trolled us back.
People don't like it when they get kicked into the fire.
It's gross.
Yeah.
And you're mean.
Smelly.
And you should feel bad. You're bad.
You should, but I don't.
Enough with Beyond Earth for now. Easy, Mackie. Have some coffee. Record date September 27th, 2014. Beyond Earth clips. Live streams copyright Firaxis Games. Play previews copyright AMD and Solar Gamer. Civilization 1 Let's Play clips copyright Neptune's Nook Games. Civilization 4, 5, and Beyond Earth sound clips copyright Take-Two Interactive. Copyright Civilized Communication at civcom.net.